Happy Vlogmas Day 20. I am in a bit of a rush. It's 20 to 9 and I've got my driving lesson at past, so I've got to get a wriggle on. But I'll quickly do my calendar, then I'll get in the shower. Oh, it's about time. Crunchy. Okay, I'm gonna get in the shower. I'm not sure I'll be back. I'll be back after. We've got the builder coming around at 9:30 as well. Hello everyone. So I am back from my driving lesson. It's a little bit later now. The builder's come and he sealed and painted all of this ceiling, so it looks a lot better now. Obviously it's still drying, but I'm a lot happier with that. And he's also done the bathroom wall as well. All of our clothes are in drying in the bedroom at the moment. Oh, Reggie's just woken up. I should have waited till after his nap. But I'm not feeling the best right now. My stomach just feels really dodgy. This morning when I woke up, I thought either I was going to poo myself or be sick, and I still feel not as bad, but I still feel like that. I just feel really, really dodgy. Yeah, I don't feel good at all. I have tried to go to the toilet, but nothing's happening. I don't feel great. So I'm just gonna chill in bed for a bit with Reggie. Try and get him back to sleep because he only had a really short nap. And I think I might have a nap as well because my head's pounding. Thanks, Reg. When I come back, I'm gonna try and do my birth story with Reggie for you. But for now, we're gonna have a nap. Hello everyone, it's 2:30. We've both just had a nap. Reggie's down here. I'm still not feeling too good. My stomach's very, very dodgy still. So I'm just gonna prep tea for tonight. I'm just gonna do pasta bake. My thought is if I cook it now, I know I'm going to be a lot tired later, so if I do it now, it saves me having to cook again. I can just serve some up myself and microwave it in a bowl. I feel like I'm getting a bit of a cold now, and my throat is a little bit sore, but I'm just hoping if I stay well rested, drink plenty of water, it won't progress into anything worse. We did stock up on paracetamol the other day, so I'm going to take one of those as well. I do still need to eat lunch, but my stomach just feels awful, so I don't even think I can think about eating lunch. Maybe I'll just have like a massive serving of this pasta when it's finished. Okay, I've just set you up on a tin of soup, so okay, so that's the pasta in. Now I'm going to put in the sauce. Whoa. It's just cheese and bacon flavour. It also says to fill water up to the top of the label. I'm just going to shake it around a bit just so we have all of the leftover sauce in the jar. Get a big spoon. Mix it around. Might add some more pasta because it looks so watery. So it says to put in the oven for 25 minutes uncovered. So my oven is on. I'm going to do that now. Okay, so my timer is on for 25 minutes. We're just going to continue to jam out to some music, and I'll be back when I have to sprinkle on the cheese. So it's been 25 minutes already, which is crazy. I need to get it out. So it's in there. Reggie's watching the weather in the front room. I don't know if you can hear him chatting. Whoa, I think I put too much pasta in. Oh, he's not happy. To stir it real quick. So it's already been 20 minutes, so got to get it out. Oh, it looks good. So this is she. Delicious. So I'm just going to put it on. Oh, forgot about you. So I'm going to leave it on the oven just to cool down. I am going to cover it with some tin foil as well, just so nothing lands on it. But yeah, I'll be eating that for tea later. Oh, my lips. So I'm going to try and get Reggie down for a nap now. But when I come back, I'm going to say my whole birth story for Reggie. It's been a few days thinking about doing this, but I'm actually going to do it today. I've written everything down just so I get it right. It's going to be a hefty video, sorry about that. But for anyone that's interested in why I'm going through the hospital report, through the hospital investigation, it will clear a few things up. Now that the report is done, I'm going to talk about it because damn. Hello everybody. So if you made it this far, thank you. So this part is going to be very, very long now. This is my birth story for Reggie. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm feeding Reggie, or I'm reading from my notes to just retrack my mind what happened. I had to really think about every small thing that happened. So, a bit of backstory. At 36 weeks, we had a scan. We obviously had reassurance scans during this pregnancy because of what happened with Felix. If you didn't know, Felix is my first baby. I lost him at 21 weeks. He had no water in the placenta, so he wasn't able to grow anymore, and his lungs weren't able to develop. So that is why I had reassurance scans. So he was measuring too small at the 36-week scan. This is Reggie, by the way. So we were told to go to Trelisk for a scan review. So the doctor had a look at the scan and had a look at the growth. They make like a growth chart for your baby to see where they're plotting. And he was too small. I think he was like in the 20-something percentile, which was way too small for him. So they're a bit concerned about that. So what they did, we had to wait hours and hours because the doctor was in theatre then. So when he was able to come and see us, he only spoke to us for a couple of minutes. But while we were waiting, I had... they monitored Reggie. They had the blue and the pink straps on my stomach. I'll put a picture up here. They were just monitoring his movements, see if he was moving fine, and any contractions that I had. So they were happy with his movements, and they asked us to come back for another scan in 2 weeks. If he was still measuring small, they wanted to get him out as soon as possible, obviously to see why. So 2 weeks go by, we had another scan, and that he had now grown way too big, so he was now plotting up to the 97th percentile, which is a lot different to 20 something percentiles. He's jumped up massively. Because his growth had accelerated so quickly in 2 weeks, they were really concerned and they wanted to get him out as soon as possible. They let me know all of like the risks and stuff if I did want to continue to full term. So obviously shoulder dystocia and other things like that was big factors that came into play. So we went to see our midwife the same day, and we needed to get a plan in place pretty much as soon as possible. They didn't want me to get to 40 weeks, which I was glad of. I was absolutely huge. I was massive. He's very, very low down as well. So we opted for a procedure called Dial-A-Pan. So these are like tiny matchstick rods, probably about this big, inserted into your cervix. I'll put some photos of what they are up here. And they insert about 5, and they're only allowed to be in for up to 24 hours. So what they do is they suck up your mucus plug and they dilate your cervix and obviously allow them to break your waters. So my midwife requested me to have that procedure as soon as possible, and we were just waiting around. I think I got to 39 weeks and then she contacted me. So they had a date, and they had a date and time for this procedure, so I booked in straight away. So this was for Wednesday the 14th of August. Is it Wednesday the 14th? Yeah, Wednesday the 14th of August. We had to go there the day before just to go over the risks of everything, and things that could happen if I didn't go like through with it, which me and my midwife already went over when I had that appointment with my midwife. We then went home. So the next day rolled around, so Wednesday the 14th of August, and we headed to Trelisk for my appointment. It was at 1 o'clock, and as soon as we got there, I was put into a bed and had my observations done, and we were left to it. There was a midwife that kept coming in, and she was waiting for someone with the correct training to do the first round of Dial-A-Pan. Long story short, we waited for 3 hours for someone with the correct training. So at 4:10, 2 midwives took me and Reese into a side room, and I had to have my legs placed on stirrups. I was absolutely pooping myself. Never had my legs on stirrups before, and they are as freaky as they look. My legs were absolutely shaking. They made me put like a white, you know, like on hospital beds they have like that white bit of paper. I had that basically covering my dignity, and that was shaking like hell. So because obviously someone inside you is going to be uncomfortable, they gave me gas and air, and I was told it wasn't going to be painful. The first midwife had a look and couldn't see where my cervix was, so she got the other midwife to take over. They kept asking each other questions, which made me very uneasy. I wasn't sure who knew. They didn't seem like they knew what they were doing, which made me like freak out. I was freaking out with my legs in the air and the bottom half was naked. So I was told to start taking the gas and air, as she was taking the dye pan out of his packaging. So as she was inserting the first rod, I felt my whole body uncontrollably shake. I was squinting my eyes so hard, and tears were just rolling down my face. I couldn't feel any of this happen as I was on gas and air, but my body was just doing its thing, and it hurt. It absolutely shook my world like no other pain. I remember Reese standing up and wiping my tears. He was also holding my face in his hands, which was very sweet. So the same pain happened with the second rod, and then the third. The procedure had finished and both of the midwives left the room so I could get decent. I was absolutely drenched in sweat. I had only packed a few days worth of clothes because I didn't think I would be staying for that long. So I had to get changed. We were then allowed to go out for a walk or get food, so that's what we did. My mum and Reese's mum were sat on the outside of the ward as not many people are allowed in. As soon as I saw my mum, I burst into tears and told her how much it hurt. And the first thing I was told multiple times, it shouldn't be painful, it's not going to be painful, it's not going to hurt you. And it absolutely took my breath away with how much it hurt. Walking around hurt. As soon as Reggie moved, it hurt. Like I was in so much pain. We went and sat on some benches and got a meal deal from the WH Smith at the hospital. My camera's gonna die. Hello, so it is a lot later now. I don't know if you can tell by the setup, it's completely ruined. I was up and playing with Reggie and then we just got comfy on the couch, so I threw all the cushions everywhere. But I had to let my camera batteries charge for ages because they were all dead. Every single one of them in the house. I have 5 altogether and all 5 of them were dead, so I'm back. There's 3 more in charge now and this one's fully charged, so hopefully I'll get through the rest of my birth story without having to recharge them all. But so I got up to, Mum was allowed to come and sit with us in the ward that we were in. She kept us entertained. The nurses and midwives were changing over and they came in to introduce themselves. This was around 10 p.m. So the midwife that was in charge of the whole ward came to check that I had passed urine before she administered the 2 final rods. I told her that I didn't feel the need to go toilet and haven't since the first set was administered, so that is 6 hours that I didn't feel the need to go toilet or couldn't go toilet basically. And it hurt like hell when I tried to. She said I needed to make sure that I did before the next 2 rods were inserted, otherwise I would have to be fitted with a catheter. That scared the absolute hell out of me. And according to the hospital report, she doesn't remember saying this. She don't remember that I couldn't wee, and she didn't remember that I was in pain, which is infuriating to say the least. Yeah, scaring the hell out of me like that and not remembering, not putting it in the notes either, like my hospital notes, is beyond me. Like that's a massive deal. You should know something's up if someone can't pass urine. I didn't know. I thought it was supposed to be normal. No one told me anything. So I took Reese to the toilet with me and I tried my hardest to wee. It got to the point where I was trying so hard, I was in so much pain. There's like a there's a handrail on the wall by the toilet, obviously, so you can get up and sit back down as you're all heavily pregnant on the ward. So I was holding as hard and tight as I could onto this handrail and holding Reese as well, pushing and crying my eyes out because I was in so much pain. I don't know where that rod went. No one knows to this day where that rod ended up. But I was in a lot of pain, and I was, when I wiped, there was blood. There was lots of blood. But I managed to do it. So I went and told the midwife in charge, and then after that I was taken back to that little room and had my legs on the stirrups. So from the first time having those 3 put in, I was terrified. My legs were shaking, the stirrups were moving, and I was already in tears. These 2 didn't hurt. Obviously this midwife was more experienced than the other 2. By the way, the first time I had 2 people in there. The second time there was just one lady, and she did it straight away, no pain. That's saying something. So an hour had passed. Me, my mum and Reese, we were just chilling. We were by ourselves in the ward, and a nurse had told them both, so my mum and Reese, that they had to leave. No one had told us anything prior to this. Like, we thought they could stay because they were my birthing partners, but they both had to leave. Mum and Reese live about 40 minutes away from Trelisk, and neither of them drive, so we were all really, really upset. We were thinking of all the possibilities, like what if I was taken up to the birthing suite by myself, or what if something happened during the night? What if I was having Reggie? Like, no one knew what was going to happen next, and I needed someone there with me. So from where my bed was, I could see out into the bereavement garden, which was really distressing. Obviously we've been there a few times to pay our respects to Felix, and yeah, I was staring at the garden the whole time, and you can hear the like, because the leaves are metal, when it was windy you can hear them. So that was all I was hearing, and to be told that my moral support had to go home, and I would be in this ward in pain by myself all night, was horrific. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, and that's what they expect you to do. Just everyone pack up, because men aren't allowed on the ward. It's not like the proper ward, like when you have a baby. No, there was no one in there as well. I was in there by myself. There was no one there. No other ladies were in there, which I couldn't get my head around, because they said no men were allowed there with other women, and it was just me, and no one else came while we were when we were there. It was just me that whole time, which, yeah, was horrific in itself. Thankfully I think she was a support worker. She advocated for me as she read on my file and saw that I had previously lost Felix, so I was already anxious anyway, and she said that he shouldn't have to leave because there was a side room available, and they should put us in there, which is what they did. They gave us a side room, and Reese was able to stay with me overnight, but Mum had to leave as there wasn't enough room. She thankfully stayed in Truro. I'm not sure if she stayed with my dad in the van or if she stayed at my sister's, because she lives in Truro as well. So the next morning we were just waiting around all day, disgusting hospital food. I'll put it up here. That was the first time I had hospital food, because we had food from WH Smith the day before. Mum rejoined us at 2 o'clock as soon as she was allowed to come and see us, and she brought us loads of snacks, some food. So when it came around to 4 o'clock, obviously that would have been 24 hours since I had them inserted, a nurse came in and said that she could do it in the bed. I asked if I would have to have gas and air for it, and she said no, it shouldn't be painful. This obviously made me very nervous, because it wasn't supposed to be painful inserting the rods. So I just laid there and stuck my nails into my hands. It didn't hurt taking them out. It just felt like if you were pulling out a tampon, basically. Maybe just a little bit more uncomfortable than that. So after they were taken out, she could only find 4 Dilapan when there was 5 inserted. So this is when we first knew that one of the rods had gone missing. She tried to convince us that it might have fallen out in the toilet or it had just passed by itself. This was not true because I was checking every time I went to the toilet if there was blood, and there wasn't a Dilapan rod because I would have heard it. She was gaslighting me and Reese pretty hard. We were getting very annoyed with her, but and then she tried to tell us, she tried to say that we must have been incorrect in how many were inserted, but so after both of the procedures they told us how many they inserted. So the first one they said, right, that's 3 inserted, and then the second lot was, okay, that's 2 inserted, so that's 5 altogether. That's what they said, that's what they were saying after the procedure. So we knew there was 5 that went in, and yeah, 4 came out. As time went on, a couple of midwives came in to say they couldn't progress the labour as the delivery suite was very busy, but I was high priority and as the induction of labour had started. So we were waiting around for hours and hours just twiddling our thumbs, and by the time it got to 10 o'clock we were so tired. We hadn't napped during the day. We were just waiting for someone to come and get us. So at this point we were getting nervous because they were going to try and send Mum and Reese home again. So what we did was turn off the light. We were trying to be very, very quiet, and we started getting ready for bed. Around 11ish I went to the toilet and was planning to go to sleep as soon as I got back. When I came out of the toilet, the midwife that I had assigned to me, she was waiting outside with someone from the delivery suite. They had confirmed that there was space for us to move up and start the induction of labour, which was, it was like the worst timing possible because we were so tired. I was so tired and they wanted us to stay awake for me to be in labour. Yeah, it just wasn't the right timing. I could have had a nap. I could have like easily had an hour sleep, but we had to get right into it. So we grabbed all of our stuff and headed upstairs. They did the handover and got us as comfortable as we could be. Reese and Mum were on 2 tiny little chairs, which I think they were wooden, which was even worse. And plus my bed was like this. I kept sliding down it, which was horrible. I was trying to mess around with the buttons to try and like level it up, but I was just sliding down this bed. It was so uncomfortable. So before they could start anything, they had to monitor Reggie's movements to make sure he was okay. So I think they did this for about 3 minutes, maybe even longer, I don't know. Time was very weird in that hospital. So they monitored him, made sure everything was okay. They were very happy with his movements. He kept moving around, so they kept having to move the monitor, kept trying to find his heartbeat basically. So when he passed, the anaesthetist came in and applied a cannula to my hand. She did it very quickly. I've still got the scar. I'm not sure if you can tell that red dot. Yeah, still got the scar from the cannula. That's great. But by this time, I think it was 2 o'clock because we had to wait for everything to be done. So we had to wait for the anaesthetist, we had to wait for the monitoring, etc, etc. So we had to wait for someone to come in to break my waters. So by the time this happened, this was 2 o'clock in the morning, and yes, I was so tired because I think they woke me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do my observations, and I was up since then. 2 o'clock in the morning, my waters had just broken. They went everywhere. I had to take my socks off. I, bless her heart, squirted this woman in the face. Which is horrible to think, sorry. They were trying to let my contractions happen naturally. They were there, and it hurt like hell. So what they were doing was trying to get me to move around. So I was just stood on the puppy pad, like swaying to Reggie's heartbeat. After that, we were allowed to go outside and have a walk, which we definitely did because it was boiling in that ward. Well, it was boiling in the delivery suite. We were sweating. I was sweating. I think I had on a little t-shirt dress underneath my hospital gown. So yeah, we went outside, but it was freezing outside. There's more pictures of us walking around. My waters kept breaking the whole time we were walking outside, like they just kept coming out. And then by the time we went back up to the delivery suite, I was still having contractions and I lost my mucus plug as well. My whole mucus plug was gone. While we were in the room, my contractions had dropped off completely, so there was no progression. So they then put me on the hormone drip. With this, the contractions, they were very fast, painful and constant. So as soon as one stopped, another one started. It was just like a vicious cycle. So I was on gas and air the whole time. My throat was horrible. I sounded like a man. If you know, you know. If you've ever had gas and air, it's horrible. They had to keep taking me off the hormone drip. As the contractions, they were constant, but there wasn't much happening. So this went on for about 7 or 8 hours. After a while, me and Reggie, we were both very distressed. I was so tired, as you can imagine, from being up all day and all morning. And about 11 o'clock, they checked how dilated I was, and I was only 2 centimeters. So I was very, very upset and defeated, just thinking I was going through all of that to only have dilated 1 more centimeter, which was horrible. I knew that I could have been like that for a lot more, like a lot of hours, and maybe even days. Like, they stopped with the hormone drip and they suspected that Reggie was breech, so they brought in an ultrasound to scan me, and it turns out he was back to back with me, which can make labour a lot harder for the mum. They had a lot of decisions to make. My labour wasn't progressing and Reggie was back to back. I need him to be face down, so basically he's towards my bum, but he was face up, which is not good. With this as an added problem, we thought it'd be safer for me and Reggie to have a cesarean, because obviously both of our heart rates were going up. I was very tired, like, as you can imagine, being in labour all day and not sleeping the day before. There was no energy there. I hadn't eaten, which was perfect. They gave me an anti-acid tablet before I started this whole process. I was clear to go in for the C-section. Reese was put in scrubs, which was so funny. Yeah, look at him. And then I was wheeled away to theatre. They attempted the spinal. It went wrong at first. My whole body had like a shooting pain, and then my leg went out, so they had to restart it. All of the needles they put in my back, I felt every inch. I know they give you gas and air, but I was doing it wrong. Because of the first one I had, you're supposed to breathe it in, but this one you're just supposed to breathe like normal. I was still going, and then I started tripping out on gas and air. The midwife that was assigned to me, she kept asking if I was okay, and I was like, I think I took too much, which was not good. After the spinal block was successful, they slowly laid me down on my back, and I remember in my head just going through like, oh my god, I'm gonna feel it, I'm not gonna be numbed, like I'm gonna feel so much pain. Yeah, because I just for some reason thought it wasn't gonna work, and my whole body just started shaking and my jaw was like blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I was trying so hard to stop shaking because I looked so weird. I felt so sick. I had someone stood next to my head with a bedpan so I can be sick. Like my body was just urging, it was making itself urge. So the anaesthetist gave me 3 shots of anti-sickness. I still felt sick after every single anti-sickness as well. As soon as I heard Reggie crying, every inch of worry and sickness just went away. I felt so content, I felt so happy. Kept the umbilical cord intact for the 60 seconds, which I wanted, and it was in my birth plan as well. Yeah, I had some skin to skin. After my C-section, Reese was told to take the baby back to our room, and I was left with all of the doctors, as I had lost a lot of blood during the operation. So because I lost a lot of blood, they had to keep an extra eye on me upstairs for a while. I think I was in that room for 20 minutes without Reese, my mum, or Reggie. They were just pushing my stomach down, making sure all of the clots were out, making sure I stopped bleeding, and then after that they had wiped me up. So I think there was about 10 doctors, like, say this is me, I was on my back, and they were all helping me like lift side to side, and then they were like wiping all the blood away from me basically, and then they did the other side. When they were happy with my condition, they took me in to see Reese, Reggie and my mum. The first thing they told me to do was feed Reggie, which I did with such ease. I'm so lucky. I know most people struggle with breastfeeding, but I didn't feel a thing, which was blessing. Everything else went so wrong, so I'm so glad this went as smooth as it did. As I was doing this, I was bleeding out again, and I didn't notice anything as my spinal block prevented me to feel anything from below my chest. So again, they had to press down on my stomach to get out all of the clots. The bleeding stopped, and they had forced me to eat toast and a cup of tea, which made me feel so ill. Honestly, I couldn't finish any of it. I think I had a sip of tea and a couple bites of toast. My mum said that they pushed out 3 puppy pads worth full of blood, and when they were taking it away, it was dripping on the floor. Sorry if that's too much information, but I thought that was important. So a little while after, when I was stabilised, I was wheeled down to the ward where everyone goes after they have their babies. I was then joined by Reese's mum and his brother as they had come to meet Reggie. In all honesty, I don't really remember much from being on the ward. I think the only significant thing I remember was one time when Reggie was in his, what is it called, like a little crib? Reggie was in his crib crying, and from the spinal block I couldn't move, like I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up and walk to him. This was after Reese had left, by the way. So they sent Reese home, and I was on the ward by myself for the night. I remember Reggie crying in his crib, and I couldn't stand up to get him. So I pressed the call bell, and a midwife came in, turned off my bell, and said she would be back. But I was like, wait, I just want you to pass him to me. But she couldn't even do that. She turned off the bell and went. So Reggie was still crying, and then I started crying because I couldn't even get my own baby. Like, how useful. How useless is that? About 20 minutes after she came back and had passed me Reggie. Yeah, so now I was holding Reggie. I was trying to feed him more colostrum. And then I asked her if she would help me get out of bed and walk. To which she did, which I'm very grateful for. But as soon as I stood up, all of that blood rushed down. You know how it is on your period, you get that gush. This was like that, but a hundred times worse. The amount of blood I lost during this was insane. Me and the midwife just looked at the floor, and I was already feeling a bit faint, but this just took the cake, honestly. The next morning, I was assured by the midwife that I could go home by 12 at lunchtime, as long as they got all the checks done. So Reese joined me about, I want to say like 10, 11ish. We waited all day as everyone was very busy, and I had to get signed off by lots of different people. I needed a lot of medication too, as I was anemic from the blood loss, and so I needed tablets for that. I needed pain relief and injections to also thin my blood. We were discharged at around 8 o'clock at night and arrived home at 9 o'clock. Because of the pain medication I was on, I really needed the toilet and felt a bit of pain, but I kept pushing anyway. I felt this shooting pain inside me and felt something come out. I pulled the last rod of Dilapan that had been left inside me. They're only supposed to be in for a maximum of 24 hours. I had it in from Wednesday to Saturday. I immediately messaged my midwife as I wasn't sure what to do and took a picture of it, which I'm really glad I did because no one believed me that it was Dilapan. What's that banging? After I messaged my midwife, I went to sleep as we were so exhausted from the previous days. It was so nice to be home. The next day, my wife... I'm not married. The next day, my midwife had contacted me and told me to call triage as she wasn't sure what to do. I rang triage and they didn't know what to do either, which was great. I didn't know what to do. We had to go straight back to Trelisk the next day. We got there at 11 o'clock to do a newborn test for Reggie, which they didn't do when they discharged us. They needed to do that. We were waiting for them to check on me. We were waiting in the waiting room for hours and hours. So we got there at 11 o'clock, and in the hospital report it said that Reese went to the reception at 2:26 to check how much longer it was going to be. So we were there for like 3 hours. I didn't pack any pain medication as I didn't think we were going to be there for that long. So as soon as the ones I took that morning had worn off, I could hear the lights vibrating, I could feel the blood rushing to my legs. That's how swollen my legs were. They were the size of tree trunks. It was awful. Reese went to the desk to ask for pain medication for me. They came back with paracetamol. I had a C-section and they tried to give me paracetamol. Yeah, it's awful. Absolutely awful. I was very, very irritated at this point. I was in so much pain and I was very nauseous and upset with everyone. They had failed me so much. So as there was no progression, Reese went to the toilet. So it was just me, Reese's mum and Reggie in the waiting room with loads of other people. They were all asking about my situation, and I think they could tell that I was getting very agitated and was not feeling very well. I think I was like as pale as a ghost. As soon as Reese went to the toilet, a midwife came through to get me and took me to a side room. I'm very grateful to this midwife. Very, very grateful. If I knew her name, I would definitely reach out to her, and I wish I could have put her on my hospital report because she was the only one that listened to how much pain I was in. Out of the whole 4 days, she was the only one. She said she heard about what I went through and got me some stronger medication to help with the pain. So I was taking dihydrocodeine at home, which is what she gave me in the hospital. They're not allowed to send you away on morphine, which is what I really wanted. I needed morphine. I was in so much pain. I can't even describe it to you. Yeah, just the lights were too bright, my head was pounding, I could barely walk. I felt sick to my stomach. My stomach hurt to touch, to walk around. Just, yeah, it was awful. So after I took the pain medication, she checked over my incision and asked if I was sure that it was Dilapan that fell out. I showed her the photo that I took the night before and her jaw hit the floor. I'm not even joking you. She was gobsmacked. She didn't say anything for a second. She couldn't believe that they let me go with it inside me for that long. She had never heard of it either. She was very apologetic and ran to grab the doctor for me. At the same time, I was messaging Reese to tell him where I was so him, Reggie and Reese's mum could come and find me. So as Reggie was due for a feed like any minute, as we were waiting there for so long, so many hours, he was so good. He was sleeping the whole time, which was really good. They found the room that I was in and the doctor came in at the same time and asked me the same question. He said, was I sure that it was Dilapan? I showed him the photo and he too was speechless. It seemed like they were trying to gaslight me as well. Like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, yeah, it was Dilapan. And then I was like, there's a photo of it, and they were like, oh my god, really? And that is Dilapan. I was like, yeah, I know, it's Dilapan. I felt it come out. He could do was apologise, and at this point I was exhausted, in agony, and requested to go home, seeing as my observations didn't flag up any sepsis. So thankfully I didn't get sepsis, but imagine if I did. It's just awful, awful, awful. Thankfully we haven't been back to the hospital since. I'm very lucky that it went this way. It could have easily have gone so wrong. I could have easily not have been sitting here right now. Reese could have been a single dad. No one listened to me or Reese when we told them that the rod was still inside me and it hadn't fallen out. And it scares me that people are left with such huge responsibilities, such as mine and Reggie's life, and are so easily distracted and don't listen to the patient. The patient knows what they're talking about, especially if a medical device is still left inside someone and they can feel it. From reading the hospital report, it could have so easily been avoided. Yeah, it was all down to one person basically, from what it says on the report. They neglected to tell people that was passed, so my care was passed on to them, and they neglected to tell them that the rod was still inside me. So when I had my cesarean, the people in theatre, they could have taken that out. They could have taken it out of me, looked for it, seen where it was. But because she didn't tell them that it was still inside, they didn't know to look. They couldn't look. So it's just one of those things, really. It could have easily been avoided. So that is my birth story. Thankfully, me and baby boy are healthy, but it could have easily gone the other way. So I'm still in the same place where I was. I am just uploading Vlogmas Day 19. Excuse the state of the couch. But I thought you could just see, because I need to make my videos longer now, because I can't just keep uploading like 6 minute, 7 minute videos, because that's not Vlogmas. But I don't have anything exciting to show you, so I might just do like day in the life. Reggie's just talking to his duck. Is this ducky? So that is Vlogmas Day 19 posted. I'm going to try and get Reggie to have a nap because he is a bit irritated and I'm a bit irritated. But I do want to start uploading on TikTok. I do want to start uploading on TikTok as well, so if you have any ideas, please comment them down below. as I just have no clue where to start. Yeah, I don't feel like my videos are short enough to be uploaded on there, and I also need to find my niche because I feel like I'm just talking a lot. So whatever I was saying before, my camera died, so it's 7 o'clock now, and this is the state of the front room. So I'm just going to reset it before we go to bed, because I'm thinking about heading to bed now. I'm really tired. I have got to brush my teeth and do my skincare as well. I've got makeup on. So yeah, watch me reset the front room. This is what I do on Friday nights instead of go out, because I'm an old home. I'm an oldie now. I don't like going out. I wouldn't go out if I could anyway. Do you remember what happened last time? This is all I can do in the front room for now. I've got to take down my laptop and the other little bits with that as well. But I'll do that when we go down to bed, as I can edit this vlog in bed when Reggie's sleeping. There are some bits I need to do in the kitchen, so come with me. There's lots of food that I need to put in the food bin, but the food bin absolutely reeked in a minute. We had a Chinese at Ollie's the other night, but we just haven't ate the leftovers, so I don't really fancy getting food poisoning. Leftover carbonara. All the leftovers. Now I need to do the dishes. Sorry about that noise. It's our bathroom extractor fan. I'm gonna take off my makeup now because I'm definitely gonna get into bed. So I'm gonna take off my makeup, do my teeth, and then get ready for bed. I've set everything up downstairs. He's happy in his chair just watching Zoella. I don't know if you can hear him talking in the background. It's been a productive day on this vlog. Not a productive day. Well, to be fair, I did my driving lesson. Okay. Productive day. Don't know why I'm using the camera as a mirror. I've literally got a mirror right here. Yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm excited to share my birth vlog with people, so you can understand kind of what I went through, and it's going to be nice to show some of the pictures as well from when I was pregnant. I loved the look of my bump, even though it was massive, because I literally have no torso. I'll show you in a second, but I literally have no torso. Yeah, this is like from here to there is my stomach. I'm very compact, so I have no torso, no legs. I'm mostly just boob and bum basically. I'm hoping Reggie inherits Reese's genes, because Reese is, I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", and I'm just 5 foot. down, do my skincare and get Reggie ready for bed. I'm going to edit this vlog, schedule it for tomorrow, and then I'm going to go to bed because I'm still not feeling 100%. My stomach still feels really dodgy. I don't know what it is. I haven't eaten anything dodgy. Like, all I had for tea last night was potato waffles and beans. So yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I hope I'm not getting the sickness that's going around. But yeah, hopefully an early night sorts me out. Yes, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.